The Arab Spring, which bounded in like a lion, is in peril of being led out like a lamb to the slaughter. Throughout the Middle East, millions of young people were intoxicated by the perfume of freedom wafting through their countries for the first times in their lives. Today, hundreds of them lie in early graves. Thousands more are sure to follow. Many of us in Canada were swept up by their optimism, in awe of unarmed youth who seemed ready to stare down despots with little more than the force of their ideals. First came Tunisia, then Egypt, and it seemed inevitable that Libya and others would follow. However, as the remaining dictators lose their hesitation to fire on their own people, Canada is faced with a brutal question of our own. What is our responsibility to these nascent democrats, and what can we or should we do? For much of our history, Canadian governments have been beguiled by Middle Eastern tyrants into believing that as cruel as their regimes were, they were somehow better than the alternatives lurking in the populations they held down, that democracy is somehow alien to the Middle East, and we blithely accepted this short-sighted bigotry in the name of sophisticated realpolitik. Like so many Western countries, we happily made deals with the devils to trade justice for stability in the Middle East, and were then surprised to find ourselves left with neither. The uprisings across the Arab world have given the lie to the despots and to our own self-deception. The Algerians who committed acts of self-immolation so yearned for dignity that they gave up their lives instead of continuing to sacrifice their autonomy. They were no one's sheep. The Tunisian youth who toppled Ben Ali were amongst the best educated and bravest people of their generation. They were no one's fools. The Egyptian coalition that brought down Mubarak were led by secularists. They were no one's cartoon fundamentalists. We can take pride in the fact that Canadian jets are enforcing the no-fly zone and protecting unarmed Libyans from the maelstrom of Gaddafi's bombs. As the people of the Middle East reshape their political landscape, we have recognized that our best interests as Canadians lie in making common cause between our freedoms and theirs. Canada may not have the military capacity to cast our shield further afield than Libya, but we can refuse to remain silent and not allow the people of the Middle East to be dragged into the night. We can refuse to continue giving despots an honored seat at the table in the community of nations. We can give comfort to those they would harm and give voice to those they would silence. As the uprisings unfold in the coming weeks and months, I suspect that some will end in triumph, while others will end in tragedy. In any one country, today may not be Freedom's Day, but that day will surely come. And when it does, Canadians will want to be able to say that even in the darkest hours, we put aside our deals with the devils and instead stood with the angels. For The Agenda with Steve Paikin, I'm Akaash Maharaj.